Hello, I'm Shai. I made the CGboost logo using only procedural shading, and I'm going to break down my plan for how I made it and the actual strategies that I've used to get this final product. One of my first steps was to divide this image into three components. The top ring and the segments with the center circle, that would be one component. So my first component was this top piece. It looks kind of like a speaker, but I know it isn't. It's kind of like a display with segments. Each of these segments has their own group node here, and they're all pretty big, about this size. These represent each segment. When I say segment, I mean these red display pieces. So this as the top left, top or bottom right. I can scroll through and all of them added together look like this. I made these each individually using three methods. So one of my earlier steps was to get an image overlaid in 3D space so that I could align the proportions of my designs very pixel perfectly to the actual logo. First, I tossed in 4 circles to basically highlight the corners of each of the shapes. From there, I made this parabolic shape, which is made with these 4 parabolas. So one of them looking like this, one looks like this, and these are each custom parabolas that have a left and right side bend. You'll see here on the left, it's bending faster than the one on the right side. So I've done that using this quick setup. I grouped these so that it would just be quicker to change. Here's the left, and here's the right. Each of these rounded shapes have their own parabola. So each of these parabolas, when they all combine, form this nice sharp shape. And I then made lines that cut out every corner, which look like this. So this subtracted by this equals this. You'll see every corner has a chunk bitten out of it, basically. That allows me to toss the circles that I have from earlier into those corners, which gives me a perfectly rounded shape after a bit of, tweaking. But the shape looks like this in the end. And this is done, I believe we have 6 segments, so this is done 6 times. The ones that have only 3 circles are much easier, obviously, because you don't have to do it 4 times. But it's still an unintuitive process. But once you do it the first time, you can copy that setup and utilize it for the next segments. So the segments look like this. I then colored them red and added them with this ring. This is made with 3 circles. One of the circles being this large one, subtracted by this smaller one to get a ring kind of shape, which is a nice perspective result. This is all proportioned correctly to the actual logo. I have the image in 3D space above it. And I added this smaller ring to get the speaker kind of look. Then I add my segments that I made earlier to get this effect. So now that we're done with the first third, let's move on to the body of the Boost logo, which is made up of a lot of circles. I basically only use circles to make this, and it takes up most of the space on screen right now. It's all of these nodes that I've selected here. I started by first outlining the shape with a few circles, and once I had that outline, which looks like this, I could take this cloudy looking shape, which is made just out of circles again, and subtract it by our outline to get this result. Both the cloudy shape and this outline made out of procedural nodes. This then goes on to the coloring stage over here. It just gets darkened and added together with both the fire and the first third. Speaking of the fire, let's see how it is made. So the fire is again made out of circles, using a very similar method that I used to make the main body of the Boost logo. And as you can see, it is all of the nodes I have selected here. It's mostly built up of these massive grouped setups. And these are basically just to draw a bunch of circles that define our shape. This top half is so we can round our corners, which is very important to get a smooth and slick result. This is added with our sharp outline to get this nice clean result. And once we have our outline, we can fill it in and subtract it to get this nice smooth result. The reason I have this whole outlining and filling in and subtraction method is so that it doesn't matter if I have a concave or convex shape. I can make both concave and convex designs relatively easily. And the rounding setup is much easier when you have an outline, since it's just addition of these weird little rounding bits. This of course goes into the coloring stage over here, turns red. So one of the most important steps that I've taken is to make sure that I have a reference image in 3D space that is overlaid on top of this logo, so that I can make sure every last bit is the logo and isn't just my own design. I really want to translate this logo into nodes as cleanly as possible. And I think I did a good job. You can compare the two images. There is very little difference. On top of that, I can't select any resolution to render it out in, just using Blender's output settings. I'm rendering it at 2K, so it's very flexible. I can change the resolution at any point. And because it's all procedural, I decided to make this color selector. It's obvious that I have two columns of color wheels. That's because I want to have the original colors on the left, so that if I change it, let's say I change my primary color to green and my currently red color to blue, I can simply copy paste to set them both to defaults really easily. On top of that, I can set the background color to be any color I want. That's it. I hope you learned about how important it is to plan out your node setups by, dividing the work and making sure the output is really as close to your logo as possible using an overlaid image in 3D space. And just as a sending off point, I would like to show that this really is procedural. It can use all of these cool procedural operations in real time. Here I can twist it depending on how far away it is from the center to get this cool distortion effect. And you can do all kinds of stuff. I plan to make an animation out of this, something using noise. And yeah, I hope you like the result. Thank you for watching. If you want to see any other videos that are similar to this, you can just click on my channel. Hope you have fun learning. Bye bye.